My name is Rebecca Hartwell. I am 28 years old. 13 years ago, on a brutal November evening, my father looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Get out. I do not need a daughter like you in this house." I was 15, drenched to the bone, with nowhere to go and no one coming to save me. The reason behind all of it was my younger sister. She told a lie, a cold, calculated lie that my parents swallowed without a second thought. And just like that, I stopped existing in their world. 3 hours later, the police called my parents to a hospital. I had been struck by a vehicle. When my father walked into that room and saw who was sitting beside my bed, his hands would not stop trembling. "You cannot be here. How is this possible?" The woman holding my hand was Dr. Victoria Chen, one of the most respected education researchers in the entire state. She had found me bleeding on the roadside and refused to leave my side. That single night rewired the entire course of my life. Last month, I stood on a graduation stage as the keynote speaker at my sister's university ceremony. My parents had no idea I was coming. Before I tell you what happened the moment they recognized me, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy stories like this one. I would also love to know where you are watching from and what time it is where you live. Drop a comment below and let me know. Now, let me take you back to where everything truly began. I learned very early that in our home, Taylor's tears always carried more weight than my accomplishments. When I was 11, I placed first at the county science competition. My project focused on renewable energy storage and it outperformed 37 other entries from schools across the region. I was bursting with pride. I sprinted home with the medal bouncing against my chest, pushed through the front door, and found my mother in the kitchen preparing dinner. "I won," I shouted, holding the medal up like a trophy. She smiled and pulled me into a quick hug. "That is wonderful, sweetheart. I am so proud of you." Then Taylor walked in from her gymnastics class. She was 9 years old, cheeks flushed, eyes already filling with tears. I fell during my routine and everyone stared at me like I was a joke. My mother's arms released me immediately. She knelt beside Taylor and wrapped her up tight. "Oh baby, it is okay. You will nail it next time." I stood there with the medal still in my hand. Nobody asked to see it. Nobody asked what my project was about. That became the rhythm of our household. Taylor needed more comfort. Taylor was fragile. Taylor required special handling. I learned to celebrate in silence, to need less, to shrink myself down so I would not take up space that belonged to her. By 14, I had stopped bringing report cards home. Straight A grades could not compete with Taylor's dramatic struggles over a B- in history. When I received acceptance into an elite summer research program with a full scholarship, 2 weeks working alongside real scientists in a university lab, I thought maybe this time would be different. My father glanced up from his laptop. "That is nice, Rebecca." Taylor burst into tears at the table. "Why does she always get the special things? It is not fair. I never get to do anything cool." My mother rubbed Taylor's back and looked at me with that familiar expression, the one that always meant I was about to lose. "Rebecca, maybe you could sit this one out. Your sister really needs you here this summer." "Taylor needs me here," Taylor finished through her sobs. I did not go to the program. They framed it as family loyalty, as maturity, as being the bigger person. I learned to be small, quiet, undemanding, but the breaking point was already moving toward me. I just did not know it would arrive wrapped in thunder and rain. The lying started in small ways that were easy to dismiss. Taylor, now 12, would take my clothes without asking. When I mentioned it gently, always gently because confrontation never worked in our house, she would deny it completely. "I never touched your hoodie." Even when it was sitting on her desk with her headphones draped over it, my mother would sigh and look at me. "Rebecca, please do not start arguments over little things." Then $40 disappeared from my mother's purse. Taylor told our parents she saw me standing near the purse that morning before school. I had not been home. I left early for a study group. My father called me into his home office that evening. "Did you take money from your mother?" "No, I did not." "Taylor says you did." "Taylor is lying." His jaw tightened. "Do not accuse your sister." "But I am telling the truth." "That is enough." His voice sliced through mine like a blade. "I am deeply disappointed in you, Rebecca. I truly believed you were above this kind of behavior. I lost my phone for 6 weeks. The research program I had been promised for the following summer vanished entirely. "We cannot trust you with independence right now," my mother said from the doorway. Taylor watched from the staircase landing. When our parents turned away, she smiled at me. That stolen $40 was only a test run. Taylor was learning that she could weaponize my parents against me anytime she wanted. The pattern only grew worse. A shattered picture frame in the hallway. My fault. A failed quiz Taylor never studied for. I should have helped her more. A rumor at school about Taylor copying homework. I must have started it to make her look bad. I stopped defending myself because what was the point? They chose her performance of pain over my truth every single time. By 15, I felt like furniture in my own home. Present but invisible unless someone needed a target. I started spending every possible hour at the public library, at school labs, anywhere that was not that house. I told myself I only needed to survive 2 more years until college. 2 years felt manageable. I was wrong about everything. November of my junior year felt heavy before the week even started. There was a boy in my advanced chemistry class named Ethan. Quiet, funny in a dry way, absolutely lost when it came to balancing chemical equations. He asked me for help after class a few times and I stayed late to walk him through stoichiometry problems. That was the entire story. Homework help, nothing more. Taylor had developed an obsession with him. She found excuses to walk past our classroom. She wrote Taylor Hartwell Brooks inside her journal with little hearts around it. I saw it once when I returned a pen she had borrowed. On a Tuesday afternoon, Ethan caught me at my locker. "Hey, thanks for explaining those reaction problems yesterday. You really saved me on that homework." I smiled. "No problem. Maybe we could study together before the midterm if you want. Library works for me." "Cool," he said, and walked away. I turned and saw Taylor standing 20 feet down the hallway, frozen, her face drained of color. That night at dinner she barely spoke. She pushed food around her plate while my mother asked repeatedly if she felt all right. Taylor shrugged and said nothing. I should have recognized that silence from her was far more dangerous than her crying. On Thursday, a guest lecturer visited my biology class. Dr. Victoria Chen from Lakeview State University spoke about educational access and equity research. I stayed after class to ask questions and she seemed genuinely impressed. "You have a sharp mind," she said, handing me her business card. "Do not let anyone convince you otherwise." I thanked her and had no idea that woman would save my life within 2 weeks. The following Friday, weather alerts started stacking up on everyone's phones. A major storm system was rolling in. High winds, flooding risks, the kind of night where you feel grateful to be indoors. Taylor still had not spoken a full sentence to me in days. She would not even meet my eyes in the hallway. I remember thinking at least I would have a quiet weekend to finish my lab report in peace. I had no idea what she was planning behind that silence. Rain started around 6 in the evening. We ate dinner in near silence while alerts buzzed on my father's phone. Taylor picked at her pasta and I could feel her watching me whenever I looked down at my plate. After dinner I went to my room and opened my English essay. Outside, wind slammed against the windows and rain came down in sheets. Around 8 o'clock I heard crying downstairs. Taylor, loud and heaving, the kind of crying she had perfected over years of practice. I set down my pen and listened. My mother's voice, soft and worried. "Sweetheart, talk to me." What happened? More sobbing. Then my father's voice, sharp and furious. "Rebecca, get down here right now." My stomach dropped through the floor. I walked downstairs slowly, each step feeling like wading through water. Taylor was on the living room couch with her face buried in my mother's shoulder. My father stood by the fireplace with his arms crossed and his face red with anger. "What is going on?" I asked. Taylor looked up with swollen eyes and streaming tears. For half a second, less than half a second, I saw something else behind those tears. Something cold and deliberate. Then it vanished behind more crying. "Tell her what you told us," my father said. His voice was ice. Taylor's lip trembled. "Why do you hate me so much?" "What?" I stepped closer. "I do not hate you." "Then why?" She hiccuped through tears. "Why have you been spreading horrible rumors about me at school?" My mind went blank. What rumors? About me and Ethan. About me cheating on that history quiz. About me being a liar and a fraud. The room tilted. Taylor, do not lie to her, my mother said quietly. Just do not. I did not know what she was talking about yet, but I was about to find out, and it would cost me everything I had left. I did not spread any rumors, I said, my voice shaking. I do not even know what you are talking about. Taylor pulled out her phone with trembling hands. Then explain this. She showed my mother a screenshot from a group chat. Messages with my name and profile picture attached, vicious things about Taylor, words I would never say to anyone. I did not write those, I said. Someone is using my account. Stop, my father barked. Just stop lying. I am not lying. And Ethan, Taylor whispered. You knew how much I liked him. You have been flirting with him to humiliate me. He asked me for help with chemistry. That is all it was. That is all. Taylor's voice rose. You have been staying after class with him. Meeting him at the library. His friend told me Ethan thinks you are pretty. We are study partners. You tried to steal him from me. She stood up now. And last week you pushed me on the stairs. Look. She rolled up her sleeve. A dark purple bruise covered her forearm. I stared at it. I never touched you. You did, Mom. She did. I did not want to say anything because I thought maybe she was just stressed. My mother moved between us. Rebecca, this is serious. If you hurt your sister, I did not hurt her. Then explain the bruise, my father demanded. I do not know. Maybe she did it herself. The words hung in the air like smoke. Taylor's eyes went wide and fresh tears poured down her cheeks. You think I would hurt myself just to frame you? Yes, I was shouting now, desperate and raw. Yes, because you do this. You lie. You have been lying about me for years. My father stepped toward me. Is this true, Rebecca? Have you been bullying your sister and making her life miserable? No. God, no. Please just listen to me. I have heard enough. He slammed his fist against the mantel. Enough of your excuses. They are not excuses. Please let me explain. There is nothing to explain, my mother said quietly, disappointment heavy in every word. I thought we raised you better than this. Taylor sobbed into her hands, the perfect portrait of a victim. I really looked at her, and for one moment she looked back without crying at all. Her eyes were dry and calculating. You are lying, I whispered. I am not, she said, and her voice did not shake at all. You are. You made all of this up. Rebecca, my mother started. She is lying. I turned to my father. Please, you have to believe me. I would never hurt her. I would never spread rumors. She is doing this because she is jealous. Because Ethan does not like her back. Because that is the only reason that makes sense. My father's voice went flat and cold. I do not want to hear another word from you. You are sick. Something is wrong with you. The word hit me like a physical blow. Sick. I am not sick. You need help. Professional help. But right now, he pointed at the front door, right now I need you out of my sight. Rain hammered the windows. Thunder shook the walls. Dad, it is storming outside. I do not care. Where am I supposed to go? That is not my problem anymore. His face twisted with disgust. Get out. I do not need a daughter like you in this house. The words carved themselves into my memory permanently. I looked at my mother, begging silently for her to stop this, to say something, to protect me. She turned away and kept her arm around Taylor. I grabbed my jacket from the hook by the door. My hands shook so badly I could barely zip it. The door slammed behind me, and through the window I saw Taylor watching me leave. She was not crying anymore. She was smiling. Rain hit me like a wall of ice. Within seconds my clothes were soaked through. I stood on the porch for a moment waiting, hoping my father would come out, apologize, tell me he had gone too far. The door stayed closed. The porch light went off. I started walking with no destination except away from that house, away from Taylor's lies, away from parents who believed I was broken. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Battery at 7%. I tried calling my friend Ashley. No answer. I tried Jessica. Straight to voicemail. It was Friday night and everyone was home with their families, safe and dry, while I stood alone in a storm. Wind whipped my hair into my face. Rain fell so hard I could barely see 10 feet ahead. Cars drove past and sprayed dirty water from the gutters. Nobody stopped. I headed toward the library, hoping I could wait out the storm inside. The building was dark and locked. The bus terminal was 2 miles away. If I could reach it, I could sit somewhere warm and figure out what to do next. I walked. Every step felt like dragging lead through puddles. My shoes were destroyed. Water squelched with each footfall. My jacket clung to my skin and I was so cold my teeth chattered violently. Thunder cracked directly overhead and lightning split the sky white. I thought about turning back and knocking on the door and begging to come home. But I could not unsee the disgust on my father's face. Maybe he was right. Maybe something was wrong with me. Why else would my own family choose Taylor over me every single time? The bus terminal was still more than a mile away. Rain intensified and wind pushed against me like a physical force. I did not see the headlights until it was almost too late. I was crossing at an intersection. The light was green, I am certain it was green, but rain blurred everything and wind screamed in my ears and visibility was nearly zero. The car appeared out of nowhere. Headlights blinding, horn blaring, brakes shrieking against wet pavement. I tried to jump back. I was not fast enough. Impact threw me sideways. My body hit the hood and then the pavement hard. My head cracked against asphalt and pain exploded through my skull, white hot and total. I could not move. I could not breathe properly. Rain poured into my mouth and eyes. Everything tilted wrong. I heard a car door slam and footsteps running through water. Oh my God. Oh my God. A woman's voice, panicked. Sweetheart, can you hear me? I tried to answer. Nothing came out. Do not move. Stay still. I am calling emergency services. Her hands touched my shoulder gently. Stay with me. What is your name? I blinked trying to focus. Her face was blurry, dark hair, rain streaming down her cheeks. She looked faintly familiar. My parents, I managed in a whisper. Your parents. Okay. What is their number? I will call them. They do not, I coughed and tasted blood, they do not want me. Her expression changed completely. What did you say? They kicked me out. The words felt impossibly heavy. They said I am sick. They do not want me anymore. She stared at me with rain pouring between us and something shifted in her face. Recognition maybe, or horror, or both. You are going to be okay, she said, but her voice shook. I promise you are going to be okay. Sirens grew closer in the distance. Her face was the last thing I saw before darkness swallowed everything. I do not remember the ambulance ride. I do not remember arriving at the hospital. My first clear memory is sound. Beeping machines, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the smell of antiseptic, and that same woman's voice, firm and professional now. She has a severe concussion and possible internal bleeding. She needs to stay for observation. I tried to open my eyes. Too heavy. Everything hurt. I am staying, that same voice said. I am not leaving her alone. Ma'am, are you family? A nurse asked. I am the one who hit her with my vehicle. I am staying until her parents arrive. Time passed in fragments. I drifted in and out. Voices came and went like waves. At some point new voices entered the room, familiar ones that made my chest tighten. We are Rebecca Hartwell's parents, my father said, strain evident in every syllable. Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell, the woman's voice again, colder now, professional. I am Dr. Victoria Chen. A pause. Recognition clicking into place. You are a professor at Lakeview State, my mother said. I am Dean of Graduate Education Research, Dr. Chen corrected, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. I am also the person who struck your daughter with my car tonight. It was an accident, my father said quickly. We are not blaming anyone. She ran into the road in the middle of a storm. She was 15 years old, soaking wet, alone at night in dangerous weather. Dr. Chen's voice rose. Why was she out there? Silence stretched. Mr. Hartwell, I asked you a direct question. There was a family situation, my father said. A discipline issue. A discipline issue, Dr. Chen repeated slowly. What kind of discipline issue involves putting a child outside during a storm? We did not, it was not like that. Then explain what it was like. Because your daughter told me something before she lost consciousness. She said her parents did not want her anymore. She said you called her sick. More silence, heavier this time. She is lying, Taylor's voice, small and scared. Rebecca is making that up. She was barely conscious, Dr. Chen said. She was not fabricating anything. I heard footsteps moving away from my bed. Dr. Chen's voice grew distant. I need to speak with a social worker immediately. That will not be necessary, my father tried to sound authoritative and failed completely. We are her parents. We will handle this. With all due respect, sir, the moment you sent a minor into a storm, this stopped being a private family matter. Footsteps returned. I felt her hand wrap around mine, warm and protective. I am not leaving until I know she is safe. A different voice now, a police officer. Mr. Hartwell, we need to ask some questions. We have not done anything wrong, my mother insisted, but her voice shook. Your daughter was hit by a car at 11 at night during a major storm. She is 15 years old. We need to understand why she was not at home. I tried to open my eyes and managed a flutter. Shapes moved in blurry motion. I saw my father's silhouette. Taylor behind him. Dr. Chen noticed immediately. She is waking up. Everyone out now. She is our daughter, my father started. And I am the attending physician in this room. Out. Footsteps. Voices fading. The door closed. Dr. Chen leaned closer and squeezed my hand gently. You are safe now, she whispered. I promise you are safe. I wanted to believe her, but safe was a word I had not felt in years. I closed my eyes and let darkness take me again. When I woke 3 days later, my parents were gone. Dr. Chen was still there. She had kept her promise. She had not left me alone. The concussion was severe. I spent 4 days in the hospital total. Dr. Chen came every single day. She brought books. She sat by my bed and talked to me about college, about science, about futures I had never allowed myself to imagine. My parents visited once. They brought a bag of clothes and some school assignments. They stood at the foot of my bed like strangers wearing uncomfortable expressions. We are glad you are okay, my mother said. My father nodded. You gave us quite a scare. Neither apologized. Neither explained. Neither asked if I wanted to come home. Taylor did not come at all. On day 5 a social worker named Maria arrived. She had kind eyes and asked gentle questions about my home, my family, what happened that night. I told her everything. Taylor's lies. My parents choosing her every time. The words my father used. Sick. Maria listened and took careful notes. Rebecca, you have options. You do not have to go back there. Where else would I go? I whispered. Dr. Chen knocked on the door and stepped inside. She could stay with me. I stared at her. What? Foster placement, temporary, until we figure out something permanent if that is what she wants. She looked at Maria. I have already started the paperwork. Why would you do that? My voice cracked. You do not even know me. Dr. Chen sat on the edge of my bed. Because someone once did it for me. When I was 17 my family turned their backs on me. A teacher took me in and changed my entire life. She touched my hand gently. You are brilliant, Rebecca. You have potential most teenagers never get close to. Do not let anyone tell you that you are sick. Do not let anyone dim that light inside you. I started crying and could not stop. I will understand if you want to go home, Dr. Chen said softly. But if you want something different, I am here. I made my decision in that hospital room. I chose different. 6 months later I was a different person living a different life. Dr. Chen's house was quiet and organized, full of books and plants and soft classical music playing in the background. She gave me the guest room and told me I could make it mine however I wanted. I transferred schools and started fresh. Nobody knew about Taylor or my parents or being the sick daughter who got thrown away. I was just Rebecca, smart and focused, finally free to breathe. Victoria, she insisted I call her by her first name after a while, exposed me to a world I never knew existed. University lectures, research symposiums, dinners with professors discussing policy and equity and systemic change. Education is freedom, she would say. Knowledge is power. No one can take that from you if you build it strong enough. I threw myself into school with everything I had. Straight A grades were not just grades anymore. They were proof. Proof I was not sick. Proof I was not broken. Proof I was not wrong. Victoria taught me about grant writing, about scholarships, about systems designed to help kids like me, kids from impossible situations, kids who needed a second chance at life. You are going to do something important someday, she told me once over a normal dinner of pasta and salad. I can see it in you. I thought about my old family sometimes. Wondered if Taylor ever told the truth. Wondered if my father regretted those words. Wondered if my mother ever wished she had stood up for me. But mostly I stopped thinking about them entirely. I heard things through old acquaintances. Taylor was fine, still the golden child, still the center of every room. My parents had removed every photograph of me from the house like I had never existed at all. Good, I thought. Let them erase me. I am building something better without them. By senior year I had a plan. College. Major in education policy. Build something that would help kids who fall through cracks wide enough to swallow them whole. I was going to turn pain into purpose. College was a blur of study sessions and late nights and slowly learning to trust people again. I earned a full scholarship to a prestigious university. Victoria's recommendation letter was glowing. I majored in education policy and social justice and minored in psychology because I wanted to understand why some kids received help while others were abandoned. Summers I interned at nonprofits and youth advocacy organizations. I learned how funding moved, how programs launched, how to transform empathy into real action. I graduated summa cum laude. Victoria cried at my ceremony and whispered that she was so incredibly proud of me. I was hired immediately as a research coordinator at a university education department. Victoria's university, actually. Different building, professional distance maintained, but still connected. At 25 I had an idea that would define the rest of my life. A scholarship program for students from difficult family situations. Kids who had been kicked out, neglected, abused, abandoned. Kids who needed a genuine second chance. I called it the New Horizons Scholarship Program. Simple name, clear mission. Victoria helped me write grant proposals. We secured funding from 3 organizations and launched the program at 1 university as a pilot. Then 2 universities. Then 5. By 27 we had awarded over $200,000 in scholarships and helped 47 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. Media started paying attention. Local newspapers, education journals. I gave interviews and spoke at conferences, always telling my story in vague terms. A 15-year-old girl told she did not belong. Never naming names, never pointing fingers. One day my colleague James Brooks knocked on my office door. Rebecca, you are being considered for keynote speaker at a graduation ceremony. Which university? I asked. Lakeview State University. My stomach dropped. That is, I stopped and breathed carefully, that is my sister's school. James blinked. You have a sister. Not anymore, I said quietly. But yes, she graduates this spring. James sat down. Do you want me to decline on your behalf? I stared at my desk and the scholarship applications stacked in neat piles. 47 students. 47 second chances. What is the theme? I asked. Resilience and educational equity. President Hammond specifically requested you. He said your work embodies everything the ceremony should represent. My work. The scholarship born from being thrown away. From being called sick. Would I have creative control over my speech? Complete control. They just want you there. I thought about Taylor in her cap and gown, smiling, probably posting about her perfect family and her supportive parents and her only child status. I thought about my parents in the audience, proud and oblivious, still believing they made the right choice 13 years ago. I thought about standing on that stage and telling my truth, not for revenge, for closure. I need to talk to Victoria, I said. That night over dinner I laid everything out. They have no idea I exist like this. No idea I built any of this. They probably think I am dead or homeless or I stopped because I genuinely did not know what they thought anymore. Victoria set down her fork. What do you want to happen? I want to close the chapter properly. Not with anger, with truth. And if they are hurt, they hurt me first. I met her eyes. I am not doing this for revenge. I am doing this because my story matters. Because showing them who I became despite them is not vindictive. It is honest. Victoria reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Then do it on your terms with your head held high. Show them exactly who you are now. I called James the next morning. Tell President Hammond I accept. I did not see Taylor in person before the ceremony, but social media makes ghosts visible whether they want to be seen or not. She posted constantly throughout her senior year. Filtered photos and carefully curated captions documenting the perfect college experience. Brunches with friends. Study sessions that looked more like photo shoots than actual work. One caption read, "Cannot believe I am graduating in 2 months. So grateful for my parents who supported me every single step. #blessed. #family first. Comments poured in telling her she was amazing and her parents raised her right. I scrolled through her profile once out of morbid curiosity. No photos of me anywhere. No mention of a sister in her entire digital universe. I had never existed in her public life. One post caught my attention. Taylor at dinner with our parents, wine glasses raised, big smiles everywhere. Celebrating my graduation with the two best people in the world. Love you, Mom and Dad. My father looked older, gray at the temples. My mother looked tired but happy. I closed the app and did not open it again. Through old acquaintances I heard Taylor was excited about graduation. Big ceremony. All her friends attending. Her parents throwing a party afterward. Someone in a group chat I was still accidentally part of mentioned the keynote speaker was supposed to be some researcher who started a scholarship program. Should be inspiring. Taylor had replied, those speeches are always so boring, but whatever, it is my day. I smiled at that and saved a screenshot. Not for revenge. Just proof that she had no idea what was coming. I wondered if she would recognize me. 13 years is a long time. I had changed completely. Grown up. Become someone else in every way that mattered. We would find out soon enough. I wrote my speech over 2 weeks. Drafted, revised, cut, added, read it aloud to Victoria a dozen times. Do not mention names, Victoria advised. Tell the story and let people connect the dots themselves. The speech opened with statistics about educational inequity and students falling through systemic cracks. Then it shifted personal. At 15 I was told I did not belong, that something was fundamentally wrong with me, that I was too broken to keep. I practiced in front of the mirror and watched my face stay calm and composed and professional. But someone saw potential instead of problems. Someone gave me a second chance and that changed everything. No tears, no anger, just facts. Just truth. James arranged everything. Parking, credentials, my name in the printed program. Olivia Sterling became Rebecca Hartwell, director of New Horizons Scholarship Program. The night before the ceremony I could not sleep. I lay staring at the ceiling thinking about Taylor, about my father's voice calling me sick, about my mother turning away. Was I doing this for the right reasons? Victoria knocked softly and came in with tea. She sat on the edge of my bed like she had done 100 times before. Second thoughts, she asked. Just thoughts. You were not the girl they threw away, Rebecca. You were the woman who built herself back up. Remember that tomorrow. I sipped the chamomile tea with honey. Will you be there? Front row always, she promised. Morning came too fast. I dressed carefully. Navy suit, professional but not stiff. Victoria's grandmother's pearl necklace that she insisted I borrow. In the mirror I looked confident and successful, nothing like the soaked 15-year-old who had been told she was too broken to love. I was ready. The campus was beautiful. Old brick buildings and manicured lawns. Students in caps and gowns everywhere. Families taking photos. Laughter and excitement filling the air. I arrived early and met President Hammond in his office. He was warm and effusive. Ms. Hartwell, we are honored to have you. Your work is extraordinary. Thank you, sir. The students will be inspired, I am certain of it. James walked me to the auditorium. Backstage was controlled chaos. Faculty adjusting robes. Staff checking microphones. Graduates peeking through curtains at filling seats. I looked at the program and scanned graduate names. There, third row. Taylor Hartwell, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. My heart kicked against my ribs. You okay? James asked. Yes, I folded the program. Just ready. Victoria arrived wearing a beautiful emerald dress, looking proud. She hugged me tight. You have got this. I know, I smiled. Head high. Truth clear. No revenge. Just honesty. She kissed my cheek and went to find her seat. The auditorium filled with murmuring voices. Hundreds of people. Families and friends celebrating their graduates. Somewhere out there my parents were sitting down, probably middle section, good view, excited for Taylor's big moment. They had no idea who the keynote speaker was. James confirmed my name was in the program but buried in small print most people never read carefully. They would find out soon enough. President Hammond touched my shoulder. 5 minutes until you are on. After opening remarks, I nodded, breathed deeply, smoothed my suit jacket. From the wings I could see the stage, the podium, the microphone, hundreds of faces beyond the lights. It was time. Wait, before I tell you what happened when I stepped onto that stage, I need to ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where your family doubted you but you proved them wrong anyway? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And if you are enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button. It really helps these stories reach others who might need to hear them. Okay, now back to the ceremony. This is where everything changed forever. President Hammond stepped to the podium and the crowd quieted. Welcome graduates, families, and honored guests. Today we celebrate achievement, resilience, and the boundless potential of our students. Applause and cheers erupted. Our keynote speaker embodies these values completely. She has dedicated her career to ensuring that every student, regardless of circumstance, has access to opportunity. Please welcome the director of the New Horizons Scholarship Program, Ms. Rebecca Hartwell. Polite applause filled the auditorium. I stepped into the light. The stage felt massive. Podium centered. Microphone waiting. Beyond the front row, faces blurred into a sea of caps and gowns. I walked with measured, confident steps. My heels clicked against the stage floor. And then I saw them. Third row. Taylor in cap and gown with honor cords around her neck. She was clapping and smiling, turned halfway to whisper something to the girl beside her. Then she looked up and saw me. Her hands froze mid-clap. Her smile faltered. Confusion crossed her face first, then recognition, then pure shock. Her mouth opened slightly. No sound came out. Behind her, 8th row. My parents still clapping politely, not looking closely yet, just audience members applauding a speaker whose name they had not registered. I reached the podium, adjusted the microphone, and looked out over the crowd. Taylor's face had gone pale. She stared without blinking. Her friend nudged her. You okay? Victoria sat front row stage right. She nodded once, small and encouraging. I gripped the podium edges. Good morning. Thank you President Hammond for that generous introduction. My voice carried clear and strong, amplified across hundreds of people. My father's head jerked up. I watched him lean forward and squint, trying to place my voice. My mother's hand went to her chest. I smiled, professional and warm. It is an honor to be here today. Today I want to talk about resilience. About what happens when you lose everything and find yourself anyway. The audience grew quiet and attentive. Let me tell you about a 15-year-old girl. I kept my voice steady and conversational. She was told she did not belong, that something was fundamentally wrong with her, that she was too broken to keep. My mother's hand gripped my father's arm. I could see it clearly even from the stage. One night, in the middle of a storm, she was put out. Told to leave. Told she was not wanted anymore. Uncomfortable shifting rippled through the crowd. Whispers started spreading. She wandered alone in that storm for hours. No phone. No money. No place to go. She was hit by a car. Nearly died. Taylor had gone completely still, frozen in her seat. Her face was white as paper. But someone stopped. Someone helped. Someone saw potential where everyone else saw problems. Victoria's eyes were bright with pride. That person became her family, her mentor, her mother in every way that mattered. I paused and let the words settle. That 15-year-old girl was me. The auditorium went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My father stood up halfway before my mother pulled him back down. Both stared with mouths open. Taylor looked like she wanted to disappear through the floor. Students around her whispered and pointed. Her friends looked confused and concerned. I am here today because Dr. Victoria Chen did not give up on me when my own family did. I gestured toward Victoria. She taught me that rejection is not the end. It is a beginning. More whispers spread like wildfire through the crowd. The New Horizons Scholarship was born from that experience. It exists for students who have been told they are not enough, who have been dismissed, abandoned, cast aside. I looked directly at Taylor and held eye contact. Because being rejected does not define you. What you do afterward does. Today that scholarship has helped 47 students. My voice stayed level and clear. Students like the girl I used to be. A woman in the back whispered loudly. Is that really her family? I continued, professional and unshaken. I learned something important in the years after the storm. Family is not always biology. Sometimes it is choice. Sometimes it is the people who choose you when others walk away. Victoria wiped her eyes and smiled at me. I learned that you do not need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person. One person who sees past the surface, past the accusations, past the lies. Taylor's face crumpled. She looked down and her shoulders shook. Her friends had stopped whispering. They were staring at her now, connecting dots they never knew existed. And I learned that success is not about proving people wrong. It is about building something meaningful despite them. My father's hands were trembling. He looked like he wanted to run. My mother cried silently, mascara running down her cheeks. So to the graduating class of Lakeview State University, I leave you with this. Your worth is not determined by who stays. It is determined by how you grow after they leave. I paused and let that land. You will face rejection and disappointment and people who underestimate you. That is guaranteed. I looked across the sea of graduates, young faces full of hope. But you get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. Standing ovation started slowly, then built. Students standing, faculty standing, many families standing, not everyone. My father stayed seated, pale, hands over his face. My mother stood mechanically clapping with tears streaming. Taylor did not move at all, frozen and staring at her lap. I stepped back from the podium. President Hammond was beaming. Thank you, Ms. Hartwell. That was powerful. I walked off stage into the wings and breathed. The ceremony continued. President Hammond returned and started calling names. I stayed backstage and watched through a gap in the curtains. The energy had shifted completely. Students walked across stage to receive diplomas, but applause felt distracted and uneven. People were still processing my speech, talking, pointing, checking phones. Taylor Hartwell, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. Taylor stood and walked to the stage. Her smile was tight and forced. Her hands shook accepting the diploma. Applause was thin and scattered. Some people clapped enthusiastically, probably close friends, but others did not clap at all. Just watched and whispered. She walked off stage quickly and disappeared into the crowd of graduates. I saw her friends huddle around her, talking urgently. Taylor shaking her head, trying to explain, failing completely. My parents sat rigid, not talking, not moving, staring straight ahead. After all names were called, President Hammond closed the ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Caps flew. Cheers erupted. Families rushed forward. I slipped out a side door and met Victoria in the reception area. You did it, she said, hugging me tight. I did. How do you feel? I thought about it carefully. Free. James appeared looking flustered. Rebecca, wow. I had no idea. Your family, are you okay? I am fine. They are asking to see you. Who? Your parents. They are at the side entrance. They want to talk. My stomach tightened. Do I have to? James shook his head. Absolutely not. I can have security handle it. No, I straightened. I will talk to them on my terms. 5 minutes. That is it. Victoria squeezed my hand. I will be right here. I walked toward the side entrance, toward the family I had left behind 13 years ago. They stood by a pillar. My father's face was gray. My mother's makeup was smeared. Taylor hovered behind them with red eyes. I stopped 3 feet away. Professional distance maintained. You wanted to talk. My father's mouth opened and closed. Rebecca, we did not know you would be here. I am sure you did not. You look, my mother's voice broke, you look well. I am well. Dr. Chen made sure of that. Victoria had followed me and stood slightly behind, protective. We owe you an apology, my father said. You owe me a lot more than that, I replied calmly. But an apology is a start. We made a mistake, my mother said. A terrible mistake. We should have listened to you. You should have protected me. That is what parents do. They protect their children. I kept my hands at my sides. You chose Taylor's lie over my truth. You called me sick. You threw me out in a storm. Taylor flinched, tears rolling down her face. We were wrong, my father said, voice cracking. I was wrong. I have regretted that night every single day for 13 years. Good, I let the word hang there, sharp and honest. Can we talk? My mother reached toward me, privately, as a family. We are not a family, I said gently. Not cruel, just factual. You made that clear 13 years ago. But we can fix this, my father said desperately. We want to fix this. Please, there is nothing to fix. You made your choice. I made mine. We are done. Rebecca, Taylor's voice, quiet and broken. I am sorry. I was 12. I was stupid. I did not know. You were old enough to know what you were doing. James appeared with a folder. Rebecca, these are scholarship applications for next semester. President Hammond wanted you to have them before you left. He handed me the folder with official university letterhead, my name, my title, photos of scholarship recipients and testimonials. My father's eyes fixed on it. You really did all this? Yes. Despite everything. My mother took the folder gently and opened it. Her face crumpled reading. 200 students targeted, 47 helped so far, but we are expanding. You are a director, she whispered. Senior director, I corrected, taking the folder back. As of last month, I work with 5 universities. We have granted over $200,000 in scholarships to students from difficult situations. President Hammond joined us, oblivious to the tension crushing the air around us. Ms. Hartwell, that was the best keynote we have had in years. The students are still talking about it. Thank you, President Hammond. He turned to my parents. Are you Rebecca's family? You must be so proud. Silence. They are, Victoria said smoothly. Are you not, Mr. Hartwell? My father's jaw worked painfully. Yes, very proud. President Hammond beamed. Ms. Hartwell is one of our most valued partners. Her program has changed lives. Literally saved some of these kids. He shook my hand and walked away. My father stared at me and really looked for the first time in 13 years. We had no idea. You never asked. I kept my voice soft, tired rather than angry. You erased me. Pretended I never existed. Why would you know anything? I tried to find you, my mother whispered. After the hospital you disappeared. I changed my name legally. Made it harder to find me. I met her eyes. I needed you to not find me. I needed space to heal. Did you? My father asked. Heal? Yes. No thanks to you. Taylor's friends approached, 3 girls looking deeply uncomfortable. Taylor, one touched her arm. Is that true? Is she really your sister? Taylor nodded, unable to speak. You told everyone you were an only child. I know. You told everyone your sister died. Another friend's voice was cold. Last year you said she died in a car accident when you were 12. My eyebrows rose despite myself. You told them I was dead. Taylor's face flushed deep red. I did not, it was easier than explaining. Explaining what? The first friend demanded. That your family kicked her out. That you lied about her. It was not like that. Then what was it like? The third friend looked at me. I am sorry. I am so sorry this happened to you. Thank you, I said quietly. They walked away and Taylor stood alone watching them leave. Taylor, my mother started. Do not, Taylor's voice was sharp. Just do not. She looked at me and really looked. I wanted to tell them so many times. I wanted to tell everyone the truth, but I was scared. Scared of what? That they would hate me. That everyone would hate me. She wiped her eyes. They were right too. I deserve it. Taylor, I stepped closer. I do not hate you. I forgive you for my own peace, not yours. But I do not want a relationship. I need you to respect that boundary. Can we just, no. Firm and clear. You made choices for 13 years. Choices to keep lying. Choices to keep me erased. That is not childhood stupidity. That is who you became. Taylor sobbed. My mother pulled her close. I looked at Victoria. Can we go? Yes. She linked her arm with mine. Let us go home. We walked away without looking back. Behind us I heard Taylor crying. My father saying my name, weak and desperate. I kept walking. Okay, I need to pause here for just a second. That moment watching Taylor realize she could not lie her way out anymore was 13 years in the making. If you have ever had to set boundaries with toxic family members, drop a comment below. Boundaries matter more than most people realize. And if this story is resonating with you, please subscribe to Whispers of Wisdom. I share these stories because I know someone out there needs to hear them. Now let me tell you what happened in the weeks that followed. The week after graduation my phone would not stop buzzing. Voicemails from my father. Please call back. We need to talk. I am so sorry. We are so sorry. Just please. Emails from my mother, long and rambling, full of apologies and excuses. We were under so much stress. Taylor was going through a phase. We did not understand what we were doing. I did not respond. Not yet. Work kept me busy. Scholarship applications poured in. The ceremony had gone partially viral. Not the whole event, but my speech. Someone recorded it and posted it online. 50,000 views became 100,000 became 500,000. Comments flooded in. This woman is incredible. Family is not blood. It is who shows up. I cried watching this. This is exactly what I needed to hear today. But also skeptical voices asking if it was real and which university it happened at and what became of the sister. I ignored the noise and focused on work. Then an email arrived from one of Taylor's former friends. Subject line, "You deserve to know." Inside were screenshots from group chats. Taylor's friends discussing her and distancing themselves rapidly. One message stood out. "I cannot believe she lied about her sister being dead. That is psychotic behavior." Another read, "I am uninviting her from my wedding. I do not want that kind of drama near me." Taylor's carefully constructed social life was crumbling in real time. Part of me felt a small pang of sympathy. The larger part felt nothing except relief. Victoria and I had dinner that week, quiet and comfortable. "How are you processing all of this?" she asked. "I do not know. I paused searching for the right word, free. Like I finally put down something heavy I did not realize I was still carrying." "You handled it with grace," Victoria said. "They want to reconcile. Do you?" she asked. I thought about it honestly. "No, I do not think I do." She nodded and squeezed my hand. "That is okay. You are allowed to walk away." 2 weeks later, my father showed up at my office unannounced. My assistant buzzed me. "Rebecca, there is a Mr. Hartwell here to see you. He does not have an appointment but says he is your father." My stomach tightened. "Give me 5 minutes, then send him in." I closed my laptop, straightened my desk, breathed. My father walked in looking 10 years older than I remembered. Gray hair, deep lines around his eyes. Shoulders slumped like gravity had won. "Thank you for seeing me," he said. "I have a meeting in 20 minutes, I replied. "I understand." He sat across from my desk formally, like a job interview. "Rebecca, I need to say this clearly. We were wrong. I was wrong. What I did to you. What I said to you. It was unforgivable." Yes, it was. Taylor told us the truth finally. Last week she broke down and confessed everything. The lies. The manipulation. All of it. 13 years too late. I know it does not fix anything." His hands shook and he clasped them together. "But I need you to understand. We have lived with this guilt every single day. We look at the empty room where your things used to be, the photographs we took down, and we know we destroyed something we can never get back. You are right. You cannot get it back. Can you forgive us?" I leaned back and considered carefully. "Forgiveness is not the issue, Dad. Trust is. And trust is shattered beyond repair. You believed Taylor's lies over my truth. You called me sick. You threw me out in a storm. I know. You do not know." My voice stayed calm and quiet. "You do not know what it is like to be 15 and homeless in a storm. To be told by your own father that you are too broken to love. You will never know." Tears rolled down his face. "What can I do? Tell me what I can do to make this right." "Nothing. There is nothing you can do. It is too late." 3 days later an email arrived from Taylor. Subject, "I am sorry." I almost deleted it immediately. Finger hovering over the trash icon. But curiosity won. "Rebecca, I know you do not want to hear from me. I know I do not deserve your attention. But I need to say this. I was jealous. So jealous of you. You were smart and capable and people liked you without you even trying. I had to fight for every bit of attention I got and it still was never enough. You were always better at everything. When Ethan liked you instead of me I snapped completely. I planned the whole thing. The fake messages. The bruise on my arm. Everything. I knew Mom and Dad would believe me because they always did. I did not think it would go that far. I did not think Dad would actually throw you out into a storm. When I saw you walking into the rain I felt sick inside. But I could not take it back. I was too scared and too proud. I have spent 13 years lying to everyone including myself. I told people you died because it was easier than admitting what I did. I destroyed your life and I know that. I destroyed my own life too. I have no real friends now. Nobody trusts me. I lost a job offer because someone from graduation told their HR department about my family situation. I am not asking for forgiveness. I do not deserve it. I am just asking you to know the truth. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I read it twice, saved it, and did not respond. 4 days later she sent another email. Then another, each one more desperate and broken than the last. After the 5th email I replied with one short final message. Taylor, I accept that you were young. But you had 13 years to correct the record. You chose to keep me erased. I forgive you for my own peace, but I do not want contact. Please respect that boundary. She stopped emailing after that. My speech went more viral than I ever expected. A local news station reached out wanting to interview me about the scholarship program. I agreed only if we focused on the students, not my personal drama. The segment aired titled Local Researcher New Horizons Program Helps Students in Crisis. They interviewed 3 scholarship recipients. One girl said the program saved her life literally, that she was about to drop out and Ms. Hartwell's team gave her hope when she had none left. Applications tripled within a month. Funding requests poured in. 3 more universities wanted to partner. Education journals called asking if I would write about our methodology. A national conference invited me to speak on equity and education and closing systemic gaps. James knocked on my office door grinning. You are famous now. How does it feel? Weird, I said. I just wanted to help some kids. You are doing more than that. You are changing systems. The State Board of Education sent a commendation recognizing outstanding contribution to educational equity. Through it all I watched ripple effects spread outward. Taylor's social media went completely quiet. No more posts. Her accounts eventually went private. My father sent one final email. We are proud of you even if we have no right to be. I did not respond. My mother tried calling once. I did not answer. Old family friends reached out on LinkedIn with awkward messages. Heard about your work. So impressive. Maybe we could catch up sometime. I declined every invitation politely. Meanwhile, Victoria was accepted as keynote speaker at a national conference. Come with me, she said, as my guest and colleague. I would love to. We flew to Chicago, presented together, stayed in a nice hotel, and talked about everything except my biological family. You have built a good life, Victoria said over dinner. You should be proud. I am because of you. No, she shook her head firmly. Because of you. I just gave you a chance. You did everything else yourself. 1 year after Taylor's graduation, my life looked completely different from anything I could have imagined at 15. The New Horizons Scholarship operated at 10 universities now. We had helped 83 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. I was promoted to senior director with a corner office and recognition from people whose names I had only read in textbooks before. I dated someone briefly, a kind man named Daniel who worked in public policy. It did not work out long term, but it ended amicably, and I was learning that not every ending had to be painful. Victoria turned 60 and we threw a party. Colleagues, friends, students she had mentored over decades, people who loved her and chose her and built family around her. I gave a toast to the woman who taught me that family is built, not born. Thank you for choosing me when no one else would. She cried happy tears. I thought about my biological family sometimes. Not often, not painfully, just quiet wondering about where they were and whether Taylor had gotten professional help and whether my father still sent unanswered emails into the void. They sent a Christmas card with no return address. Just signatures. Michael, Linda, Taylor. No message. No explanation. I put it in a drawer. Did not throw it away. Did not respond. Just acknowledged that it existed and moved on. I spoke at another graduation at a different university with different students but a similar message. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors you control. Afterward, a young woman approached me, maybe 20 years old, tearful and shaking. That was my story too. My family kicked me out at 16. I thought I was completely alone in the world. You are not alone, I told her. You are surviving. That is more than enough. She hugged me tight. Thank you. I drove home that evening to the house I shared with Victoria, my real mother in every way that mattered, and felt something I had not felt in years. Complete peace. People ask me sometimes if I regret that night. The storm, the pain, the hospital. I do not regret any of it because it led me here. To this life, this work, this family I chose deliberately. Not every story ends the way mine did. I know that. I was lucky. Dr. Victoria Chen found me on that roadside and chose me and refused to let go. Not everyone gets that kind of rescue. But everyone gets to set boundaries. Everyone gets to decide who has access to their life. You do not owe toxic people your presence. Not even when they share your blood. Especially not then. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation. You can forgive someone for your own peace while still keeping them outside your life. Those ideas are not contradictory. They are both necessary sometimes. I learned that blood does not make family. Choice does. Consistency does. Showing up does. Victoria showed up every single day for 13 years. She earned the title of mother in my heart. My biological parents showed up once, failed completely, and never truly tried again after that. That tells you everything you need to know. I learned that success is not about proving people wrong. It is about building something meaningful despite them. The scholarship program was never revenge. It was purpose. It was turning my pain into something that helps others survive their own storms. That is the difference. Revenge seeks to hurt. Purpose seeks to heal. I learned that your worth is not determined by who stays in your life. It is determined by how you grow after they leave. Some people will always underestimate you, reject you, tell you that you are too broken or too sick or too much or not enough. That is their limitation, not yours. You get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. I chose to become someone who helps kids like me. Kids who need a second chance. Kids who deserve to know they are worth saving. That is my legacy. Not the family that threw me away, but the family I built afterward with intention and love. So that is my story. The storm that almost destroyed me became the catalyst for everything I built. I am 28 now. Same age as when I started telling you this, but I feel older and wiser and whole in a way I never thought possible. My parents' names are still saved in my phone. I have not deleted them, but I have not called either. They exist in my past, not my present, and definitely not my future. Taylor sends me a message every few months. Short and apologetic. Thinking of you. Hope you are well. I read them. I do not respond. Maybe someday I will. Maybe not. Either way is okay. Dr. Victoria Chen is mom now. Not Dr. Chen. Just mom. She is the emergency contact on every form I fill out. The person I call when something good happens. The one whose opinion actually matters to me. Blood did not make her my mother. Choice did. 13 years of showing up. Of believing in me. Of loving me when I could not love myself. That is family in its truest form. Every year on November 8th, the anniversary of that storm, I drive past my old house. Not to punish myself. Not to wallow in old pain. Just to remember. I park across the street and look at those windows and that front door and I think about that girl who survived. She survived being called sick. She survived being thrown away. She survived being told she was too broken to love. And she did not just survive. She thrived. If you are in a storm right now, metaphorical or real, please hear me on this. You can survive it. You can even thrive afterward. Just because someone gives up on you does not mean you give up on yourself. Set your boundaries. Choose your family. Build your purpose. And never ever let anyone tell you that you are too sick or too broken or too much. You are exactly enough exactly as you are. Thank you for listening. You matter. Thank you so much for staying with me until the very end. If this story helped you in any way, please hit that like button and subscribe to Whispers of Wisdom. Your support helps these stories reach others who need to hear them. And if you want more stories like this, check the description below where I have linked similar videos. Remember, you define your worth. Nobody else gets to do that for you. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next story.